Welcome to Picture Healer channel. Today we are going to look at the I Ching prediction for year 2024 and the Feng Shui period 9. There are many different ways to come up with an I Ching hexagram. I'm using the classic prophecy book called the Tui Bei Tu, the back pushing drawings. This book was written by the Yuan Tiangang and Li Chunfeng in the Tang Dynasty. And each of the I Ching hexagram has an illustration and a short poem. And there are other people doing the commentary, so there will be different points after that. So we'll look at the I Ching hexagram related to 2024. The 2024 is the Jia Chen year. Jia is the heavenly stem and the Chen is the earthly branches. So the related hexagram is the number 41 in the Tui Bei Tu book. It's called Li Gua. And you can see the illustration here is one person with 1 foot stepping on top of a ball. And because period 9 is also related to the fire, and Li is the fire in the Ba Gua, the 8 trigrams. So this hexagram represents both 2024 and period 9 Feng Shui. And that makes sense because 2024 is the first year of the period 9, which lasts for 20 years. So we will talk a little bit about the I Ching and Ba Gua. And to know the I Ching hexagram, we have to know the Ba Gua, the trigrams. Here is a picture of the pre-heaven Ba Gua. And you can see the Li Gua is related to fire. And the symbol of the Li Gua has 2 solid lines on top and bottom and a broken line in the middle. So the middle is yin and top and bottoms are the yang lines. And let's go back to the Li Gua in the I Ching. We have 2 of the Li Gua, one on the top and one below. The 6 lines become the I Ching hexagram. So this I Ching hexagram shows 2 fire. And the 6 lines, or we call them the 6 yaos, can represent the timeline or the progression. And we start from the first line below and the second line, third line going up until the top one, that's the 6th line. So that's a progression of the time in any I Ching hexagrams. It always goes from the bottom up, and the lowest one is always called the first line. So let's look at the point that's related to the illustration of the Li Gua. In the point, it says, heaven and earth are dim and blind. The grass and trees continue to grow and multiply. The yin and yang are against each other, and the earth on the top and the sun on the bottom. So you see the circle below in the illustration, it can mean the sun. And it seems everything is out of order. The earth and sun are not in the right position. The yin and yang are against each other. And the heaven and earth are dim and blind. It's not very clear or very bright. And the grass and trees continue to grow and multiply. The world still goes on. Based on this point, it seems everything is upside down or out of order and kind of chaotic, but we still have to go on with our lives. And here is the commentary point trying to explain the previous point. It says, wearing the head is needed because there's no head above the blood. So it talks about head and blood, and it sounds a little scary. It seems like we have to protect ourselves and cover up to prevent any disasters. And the second line, it says, someone is playing with heaven and earth under his hand endlessly. That can imply some powerful person trying to manipulate and play with fire, maybe related to the whole country or the whole world. And it says the 99 years turns into a big mistake, and this leader is only suitable as the king of the Qin region or the Qing state. So somebody is in the wrong position for a very long time. It says 99 years, and big mistakes will be made. So that's a commentary of this Li Gua in the Tui Bei Tu book. It seems like more of a warning we should protect ourselves because the leader or the people in power is not really taking care of us. And this can last for a long time. We can also look at this hexagram outside of the Tui Bei Tu. So we will look at the commentary of each of the 6 lines and look at the progression from line 1 to line 6. For the I Ching hexagram, the beginning is the bottom line, that's the first line, and the ending is the top line or the 6th line. Since we are looking at this Li Gua as 2024 and also as a period 9, we can spread out the year 2024 into the 6 lines. So the first line represents lunar January and February. It's just approximately, and each line will represent 2 months. So the top line will be November and December. And if we are looking at the 20 years period, like a period 9, each line can represent 3 to 4 years approximately. So that gives us some clue to find the corresponding lines or the yaos. So in the I Ching book, it says Li Gua is suitable for people with good virtue and good fortune for keeping female cow. The female cow has personalities of being softer, being more patient, easygoing, more gentle, accepting, and polite. So this kind of character will bring good fortune during this time. And that makes sense because the Li, or the fire, is a very strong energy. So we need to balance it with softer, more feminine, more gentle energy. Otherwise, the conflict and disaster can happen easily. Now we'll look from the first line. That's the beginning. So the first line is in the bottom, and it says steps are slightly out of order. It becomes more chaotic, but with respect and a polite attitude, there will be no problem. So this is still good luck if we are careful and keep a good attitude, respect other people and being polite. There will be no issues. And the second line, it says the yellow sun is rising in the middle of the sky now. It shows good fortune. So this is a very lucky line, and the corresponding months in 2024 can be lunar, March, and April. And if we are looking at the period 9, the corresponding years are about 2027 to 2030. And this will be very auspicious and a very fortunate time out of all the 6 lines. The third line, it says the sun starting to set and the elderly people start to complain instead of embracing the truth with drumming and singing. Then the bad luck will come. So the sun is setting now, and the problem can come if the people are complaining instead of embracing the reality and follow the nature. The setting sun is like elderly people. It's not at the strongest point, but we can still embrace the truth. We can enjoy the natural changes and even celebrate it with singing and drumming instead of complaining. But if we are just looking at the negative side, the bad luck will come. So during this time, things are changing, and if you cannot adapt and just complain, problems will come. The next one is a 4th line. It says, out of nowhere, there is burning, death, and abandonment. And this sounds like a big disaster. Just suddenly things are going downward. There will be burning fire, there will be death or some type of ending and abandonment. So the number 4 line is the worst line of all the 6 lines. And you can also check the corresponding months and the year. That's lunar, July, August, and year 2033 until 36. So be extra careful during this time. The next one is the 5th line. It's that people are crying, sighing, and feeling sad. But if we face a reality and start to adapt and come up with new plans, things will be better and the good luck will follow. After the disaster in the 4th line, people start to wake up and start to adapt and make changes. Now let's look at the last one. The 6th line or the top line, it says the king takes military action and reward his generals who catch the enemy, but still generous with the enemy's people. So that's a fair treatment and the order is restored with no more issues. So there will be justice and order at the end, but they might be involved with some military actions. So at the end, it's still lucky, even though we have to go through the 4th line with all the disasters. That's like a wake-up call. So in the 5th line, we start to see the reality and start to make changes. And finally, we have the order restored at the 6th line. So that's the basic explanation based on the I Ching, the Book of Change. Overall, the Li Gua represents the brightness, beauty, culture, technology, rising upward, and positive energy. And the Li Gua can also mean attachment. If we follow the right path and virtue, and follow the right group or the right leader, and keep the right attitude, we will have good fortune and away from problems. And the Li Gua can also mean the sudden destructive energy if we are not careful, because the Li is a fire. The fire can keep us warm and bring brightness, but it can also be destructive. And we also should learn from the female cow, being soft, polite, accepting, and patient. It can balance the Li Gua and prevent us from any troubles. And the last thing we learn from the Li Gua is that we should face the reality and make changes accordingly that will bring us good luck. If we just complain and refuse to accept the reality, then the disaster will come. It's just like the sun will rise up, stay in the middle of the sky, and start setting down. We are all in different stages of our cycles, and we just need to be aware of our own position and accept it and follow the nature, so we will enjoy peace and happiness and enjoy good fortune. Thank you so much for listening to me today. I wish everyone a happy Dragon Year and see you next time.